99.9%. I hate saying 100%, but 99.9%. Because Todd Brady told BA, you're stepping down today, and we're going to have a press conference tomorrow on Thursday at 1 p.m. And you're going to say all the right things. I believe Tom Brady told the management it's BA or me. That's as simple as that. We got no indication. We heard him talk at the combine. We heard him talk afterwards, how excited he was that we got Tom back and we got a chance to compete for a title. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, he steps down. It steps down to do what, a senior consultant? Kind of like Brad Stevens stepped down to go up. Yeah, you get it.
It's not stepping down, it's getting kicked upstairs.
Oh, yeah. So he got demoted, promoted.
He did.
Skip, this is what we know. This notion that Tom doesn't have an ego and he just wants to be one of the guys has never been true. Tom Brady is everything that they try to convince you that he's not, and even more. Now, this is what Tom Brady said on the Sharpe just last year. What I say versus what I think are two totally different things. I would say 90% of what I say is probably not what I'm thinking. There's a part of me that doesn't like conflict. So in the end, I just always try to play it super flat. I usually say the opposite.
Aha.
Yep. Everybody knows this. Man, kudos for BA. He got Tom Brady to come back, and he wanted Todd Bowles to get this job. Stop it, y'all. Stop it. If y'all believe that, y'all bigger dummies than I actually even thought you were. You and I both know there was conflict. There was some reporter that was about Tom Brady possibly going to Miami, and Sean Payton possibly joining me, yada, yada, yada. But with the situation with the previous coach, Brian Flores, we get all that. We also, this report is that there was some conflict between Tom Brady and BA about the game plan. This notion that out of the blue, that BA is going to all of a sudden say, you know what, give me that consulting role. That's not happening. So I know everybody wants to, and I'm happy for Todd Bowles. I believe he probably should have got a Bo. Byron Leftwich should have got a job even without this happening.
Yep.
I commend BA for having so many minorities, be it black, women, on his staff. Nobody has staffed their coaching staff like BA has.
True.
He's put teeth. There ain't just no coaches speak.
Yep.
It's just not a slogan.
Yep.
He's actually done it. But if anybody thinks that this was out of the kindness of his heart and Tom Brady played no role in this, they're absolutely mistaken. I believe Tom Brady's thumbprint, handprint, palm print, whatever eye scan like you do at the airport, Skip, I believe all of Tom Brady is on this move. And no one can convince me otherwise.
You sound like you've been listening to somebody across the table from you, because I think I've been saying this from the start. As soon as the shocking announcement came down that Tom Brady was retiring from football, I said, that's impossible. As far as I know, he's about as close to healthy as you could ever get following an NFL season. He seemed very happy with the way he was performing because it was at the highest level. I thought he should have been the MVP. Aaron won it. You thought Aaron. But he played beautifully this year.
He played top 5 football.
You can argue it was one of, if not his greatest season ever. Statistically, you could argue it's right up there with the 2007. And I said, this is just wrong because he can't be burned out on football, but he can be burned out on BA, as in Bruce Arians. So let's hark back to the first year in Tampa. How many times did I come out here and beat this table saying, what are you doing, Bruce Arians? You dare to publicly chastise and criticize Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., the GOAT of your game, because you once coached Ben Roethlisberger and Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck and Carson Palmer. You coached them all. So who's Tom Brady to me? He's just another quarterback.
It started the first game, too.
No, he's not. It was the first game, and he threw him right under the post-game bus.
He did.
He did. And I kept telling you, you just can't do that. And you said, well, I agree, because There's no way your coach, Mike Shanahan, would ever have publicly
John Elway.
just ripped and slashed John Elway. You can't get away with it. It is not done in your league at this level.
Not to a quarterback like that.
You can't do it to John Elway in Denver. You can't do it to one of these made men because it's not how the game is played off the field.
Right.
It's just wrong because that quarterback has enough trouble without you turning on him in the postgame. He's going to have enough critics because he's always going to get, as we know, too much blame and too much credit.
Correct.
But he's definitely going to get too much blame. You don't need to pile on or open the door for the critics to rush through and say, see, even BA criticized Tom. And yet it was Bruce Arians' ego. I can do this. I know more than Tom Brady does about football. And then we heard little bits and pieces of he was imposing his will and his ego on game plans, that he would allow Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady to try to come up with something that was not yet in ink. And he would go through and red line out a bunch of the play. No, we're going to do this, this, and this. And I believe it was driving Brady crazy. And what did we say? After the bye week, which came late in that season, after they had lost at home to Kansas City, albeit after a pretty good comeback, they lost 27-24. They had a week for Brady to just seize control of the offense. And I believe he then turned on Arians and said, no, we've got to do this, this, and this. Remember, they added some screens, they added some motion. They added a few wrinkles that Tom had been staples in the New England offense.
He and Byron Leftwich was already working on that. And then BA was coming in and throwing it out because that's really not his game plan. BA is no risk it, no biscuit, throw it down the field. And Tom is like intermediate, short. And if the deep throw is there, I'll take it. But just to willy-nilly throw the ball down the field because we can, that's not how we do. That's not how I like to do it.
So I said, I do not believe that Tom is retiring from football. He's retiring from Tampa. And I believe he wanted to suddenly, quote unquote, be free enough that he could explore an option that immediately presented itself. I told you I heard from a source very close to Brady that he was actually making calls to check with his trusted advisors around the league. How would it work? Do you think it would work if I joined Sean Payton and went to Miami, then the Brian Flores bombshell dropped, and all of a sudden all bets were off in Miami? They had to go they went a different direction at head coach. I still believe that he went back to the Shanahans in San Francisco. Well, you didn't want me 2 years ago. Could we think about it now? And they want to move forward with Trey Lance. They invested their whole future in Trey Lance. And I love Trey Lance, but I would love Tom Brady more for the next year or two, going back home to San Mateo, where he grew up, in the shadow of Candlestick Park, and finish as a 49er. I think that's the way the fairy tale should have ended. I believe your Shanahan said, no, we're not interested in that. We want to move forward with Trey Lance. And all of a sudden, it's Tom having to go back to Jason Light and obviously the Glazer family and say, hey, look, I am willing to come back and play another year, but you got to get that man out of my hair. You just got to get him out of my way. And I believe that in the end, they finally said, okay, let's figure this out and let's ease him up the stairs up into the Jason Light office. He says, I'm on the other side of the building now as a senior advisor.
Well, to your credit, you said there was going to be a buffer between Tom Brady and BA. You didn't mean there was going to be a wall. A literally wall.
Like an opposite side of the building buffer.
Like I'm over one floor and you're totally on the other floor. That's the buffer between the two now.
Okay, Bruce now says, hey, I'm still going to go to practice every day. Well, trust me, he can stand on the sideline and watch, but he cannot involve himself. I promise you the ground rules are laid in concrete. You cannot participate.
Well, you're a senior consultant. How do you, what are you doing at practice? I mean, you're
draft and free agency.
I get you at practice, but, Todd Bowles is the head coach. Byron Leftwich is the offensive coordinator. Consultants, they just, jot stuff down and maybe take it to the head coach or maybe take it to the coordinator. But during the actual practice, you're not intervening. You're not saying anything.
I got you. So in the end, Tom Brady strikes again. I believe Tom Brady wins again. But to your point, Tom Brady is Michael Jordan in a very different package. And to your point, and I give you this point, he will not own this because he posted an IG statement in which he gushed about BA. And the whole point of it was, don't look at me, don't blame me.
Right.
I love this man. And I do believe there's a big part of Tom that loves what BA stands for. And to your point, I'm going to read just the first couple of lines of this because it's just vintage. It's shrewd social media operator. He says to Bruce, "You are an incredible man and coach, and it was a privilege to play for you. You are a true NFL legend and pioneer for all the work you have done to make the league more diverse and inclusive." So he's focusing in on that point as opposed to you're a great offensive mind. You know, he's not.
Your coach and what you've done in this league over 30 years, you're talking about your inclusion and diversity.
No, and he just goes on and on gushing about BA. And I do believe there's love. As you well know, because you did it 3 times, anybody you won a Super Bowl with, you got a bond for life. And even if you didn't really care for said guy,
you're absolutely right.
A coach or a player, if you see him today in passing, you're going to hug him.
That bond is there.
Yeah, and he'll hug BA down the line at some, future gathering of the Super Bowl champs. Okay, so, and then my favorite line was Bruce Arians, if I can find it here, saying, well, he says, "I don't have to worry now about how many cocktails I have on Saturday night." Bingo. That's exact, because it's no risk it, no biscuit, kind of on and off the field, where, as we kept talking, Bruce is liable to wake up one morning with a little bit of a hangover and say on some Wednesday, let's cut practice a little short. I think I'm going to go play 9 this afternoon just to kind of ease out of this hangover, right? Well, that drove Brady crazy because Brady is obsessed with this. Brady's working into the night watching tape, and BA's motor didn't match Tom's motor.
Skip, when you've done something, you've been in the military for such a long time, Skip. You get up every morning, you make your bed. Even when you leave the military, what does people that's been in the military for an extremely long time do? They still get up, they make their bed. My grandfather still shined his shoes to the day that he died, and he couldn't do it anymore.
I got it.
Tom Brady thought that he wanted something totally opposite than Coach Belichick.
Yeah, and he got it.
He got it, but then he realized, God dang it, that's not what I need, because what I got won't win me multiple championships. It won me one, but I need somebody that's going to keep their thumb on these guys so they don't relax and get happy that they won one when we could have won 2, or we should have won 2, or we might could have won 3.
Yep. You know what it reminded me of? The great Troy Aikman playing for Jimmy Johnson, and all of a sudden Jerry fires Jimmy and hires Barry Switzer from the University of Oklahoma. And I know both Jimmy and Barry very well, but you want to talk about polar opposites? It's just like Belichick versus BA. And Switzer is more BA. And once Switzer came in, and it's loosey-goosey, and if guys are showing up late for practice, what the hell?
Exactly.
You know, and if they're a little hungover after a Wednesday night off at camp, it's okay, you know, and
you miss weight, all right.
And Switzer was always, look, win the game, win the party. That was his whole, that was his mantra, okay? And it drove Troy pretty crazy because Troy was geared to play for Jimmy. And even though they clashed early on, listen, Jimmy was my way or the highway.
But that accountability won. And Troy believed that had Jimmy stayed in place, they would have won more than another Super Bowl.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so this was a beautiful maneuver by a Tom Brady who is more cold-blooded killer than you think. He's just a cold-blooded. And again, he's going to try to put a lot of flowers on top of this, but this was a cold-blooded, quote-unquote, killing. And in so doing, I think Tom loves Todd Bowles. I think Tom believes in Todd Bowles as serious business, as old school, highly principled, iron-fisted, this is how we're going to do it. And he saw Todd, because, listen, Todd didn't have a great record for the Jets. I have a lot of respect for him. Again, he's a great defensive mind, and I do believe he'll still have huge input into the defensive side. But Todd is more of an adult to me, that he can be the CEO.
His demeanor is totally different than B.A. You saw B.A. when the guy was trying to pull, B.A. slapped the guy upside the head. You see Carlton Davis get a flag and he pulled him to the side. He say, son, we can't do that. You just cost us 50. You see the difference in tone, the difference in body language.
That's a good point. I agree.
I think that's one of the biggest differences. And Tom is looking at it like, hold on. What does B.A. really do? Okay, it's me and Byron Leftwich doing the offensive game plan. Is Todd Bowles and his staff doing the defensive game plan? Is Keith Armstrong doing the special teams game plan?
Yep.
Oh, we can do this without him.
That is correct. and so if Todd is going to take charge of the whole operation,
Right.
and all of a sudden Tom and Byron and Clyde Christensen, who's the quarterback coach, just because Brady loves having him around. He's
Right.
a good guy to
Right.
have around
Right.
and a good sounding board.
Right.
But I believe Tom really believes in Byron.
I do too.
And there's a good meeting of the minds
Right.
there.
Right.
But if you had BA swooping in on Friday
Right.
to redline through all the game plan, it was driving both of them crazy. Well, now they're unopposed, they're unchallenged.
Right.
There's no more veto power in Bruce Arians. Well, you want to talk about beautiful maneuver.
Right.
This is perfect for Brady going forward. I think the Bucs just got better because of the overall commitment of the hierarchy.
Well, Skip, something like this does not happen overnight.
No.
Ain't no way in hell you can convince me that BA woke up yesterday and said, you know what? Yeah, I'm good. Hey, what y'all got for your boy upstairs? Let me go on upstairs, get out the way of everything. It didn't happen like that.
And BA's trying to sell it as, I woke up the other day and I decided, we've done so well in free agency. We've done so well keeping who we needed to keep. And now that we got Tom back, this is the perfect time because I don't want Todd Bowles to have to go get another, he said another word, but another crap job
Right.
where he would fail in it.
Right.
I wanted to be able to hand him the
Right.
baton in a situation that is ideal.
Right.
Well, if the situation is ideal, I think you're not going to quit.
Yeah.
Right?
I love Todd, but come on now. That's an opportunity for me to get another one. Now, all of a sudden, Skip, people start looking at me like, well, hold on.
Yep.
Man, BA won 2 of these things. BA won 3 of these things. Now, all of a sudden, Canton come knocking on your door in 5-10 years. Look, I'm glad that Todd Bowles got a head coaching job, but I do not believe that BA retired because he wanted Todd Bowles to get this job. Tom Brady said, look, Skip, in the season tickets, they require you to buy 2 years. It's like, if you want to see Tom Brady this year, you might well you got to go ahead and buy 2023 too. Or you won't be able to see Tom this year.
Okay.
So the Glazier family, Tom, like, look, I'm back. Y'all really want to make me happy? Y'all need to do this.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying you fire him or he's out on the street.
No.
But give him another cush job where he's away from me.
Correct. And Rick Stroud, who has covered that team for years and is very plugged in, reported that Tom knew that BA was stepping down either the day he announced his return or the day after. Well, to me, I'm interpreting he knew it because he demanded it.
He knew it because he talked to the Glazers.
Right.
He talked. Of course he knew it. Hey, BA, you gonna be stepping down at some point. Huh? What you mean? Yeah. Don't worry about it. But probably by April 1st. Well, I'm glad it's not on April 1st because everybody would have thought it was a joke.
Yep.
Had BA done this 2 days later, Skip, people were like, man, that ain't even real. April Fools. So you had to get this in before then. And now today, I think at 1 o'clock Eastern time, they're gonna sit everybody's gonna sit at the podium. But your boy Tom, he clever, Skip.
He's very
that
clever.
joker threw so many rocks, broke so many windows, got his hand. What, me?
Don't look at me. I love BA.
Broken glass everywhere.
Yep. And then my favorite line from all the flowers that Tom threw at BA on Instagram, he says, I'm so happy you will spend the much-deserved time with your loving and supportive family that has given so much to our community. Well, that just means I'm so happy you're not going to be bothering me anymore. You can spend time with your family. That's a good thing. Just go spend all the time you want with your family.
He wants everybody to do everything that he doesn't want to do, which is spend the time with his family.
That's true.
He like, BA, you get a chance to spend time with your family.
Yep.
You get to do yada, yada, yada. What about you, Tom? No, I'm good. Don't worry about me. I'm talking about you. So we finally, hold on, this is about the first time in 6 seasons you and I agree on something when it comes to Tom Brady. That you believe that he was the mastermind.
This was cold-blooded.
Okay.
And that's how it had to be. But at least I first guessed it during the 2020 season. I said, you're cruising for a bruising here, Coach,
Right.
because you can't keep doing this to him.
You were surprised
and
that
get
he
away
made it.
with
You surprised he made it that long.
I couldn't believe it, and I couldn't believe that Tom was able to win in spite of him, and that's a great achievement that we will debate here in just a few minutes.
Oh, Tom. Oh, Tom. Oh, sneaky Tom. Sneaky Tom cat.
Yeah.
Well, guys, BA at least says he thought about going out on top after winning the Super Bowl.
No, he
We'll see what levels of this story continue to unfold as we go.
He was up there drinking tequila, talking about we gonna do it again.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.